Hi everyone, welcome to Group F of RO16. I'm your caster Big Fan. Today we're going to have a TVT. It's going to be FlaSh versus Hwasin. FlaSh, our Terran player. And on the other hand, we're going to have Hwasin, our other Terran player as well. So this should be quite the back and forth. The first map is going to be Blue Storm. So we'll see who will take the lead in the series. Fighting. So our yellow Terran in the bottom left, it's Hwasin. And our red Terran in the top right, it's gonna be FlaSh. So two-player map. More than likely I can see either one probably going for the factory expand, which would not be a bad idea. Now do keep in mind there is the ramp, the big ramp right outside the expansion. So having the opponent basically get some tanks up there and containing would definitely be a bad idea. We have seen some players previously get their depots up on the ramp there, but I can see that Hwasin has already popped down his depot in his main, and likewise I believe FlaSh has done the same as well. Yeah, he has done the same as well. Now looking at FlaSh's record versus Terran on this map, he is 3-0, so he's definitely seems to be playing the map to his advantage. On the other side, Hwasin is also 6-0. Okay, so both players actually have perfect records on this map, it seems, versus other Terrans. Hwasin with a better record, but we also know that FlaSh is obviously rising at this point in time. We'll see what he will do. Now, we do see the SCVs actually moving out early, so I wonder if this is going to be some kind of a proxy. But it looks like maybe he was just actually scouting around just to be on the safe side, because the tour that he took up just to go up to get a vision of the high ground there seems to indicate that maybe he thought Hwasin would try something, so he was just double checking there. Now he is going to the main. You guys see no racks here, and this looks like it's going to be a CC first from Hwasin. And if I'm not mistaken, it might be a similar opening from FlaSh as well. We'll have to see. We haven't seen anything. We haven't seen any racks from FlaSh, or at least we haven't seen his base recently. His SCV is doing a nice job of just trying to, to deny the CC from building, but obviously there is another SCV that's been pulled off to try and help and defend. The one thing is, I don't think... Okay, yeah, so it looks like slices have the CC down. Okay, perfect, perfect. So the bursts are pretty close opening-wise. We'll have to see in terms of deviations. I believe Hwasin might have his gas at this point. And I believe FlaSh just started his own gas as well. Yeah, it looks like FlaSh just started his gas. So I do expect the factory to go down ASAP as well, probably with a Vulture to start things off. Oh, but this was a really nice trick from FlaSh. So he's basically trying to prevent the SCV from scaring as much as possible, because again, keeping Hwasin in the dark gives him a lot of ammo in the information warfare, because Hwasin doesn't really know what FlaSh is doing, right? For all he knows, maybe there's a two-factor coming in, or a couple of proxy racks on. Could be anything essentially. So factory is down from Hwasin about halfway down. We'll have to see how far along FlaSh's factory is as well. And we'll have to see if one of them will decide to get the army, earlier than the other to try and get some of the an upgrade advantage in the game. Okay, so we see a little bit of a deviation. So FlaSh is actually getting his second factory already. Hwasin was still on his first. We'll have to see if Hwasin will actually get a port instead then. That could be another possibility as well. Yeah, looks like he actually is getting a port. So this deviation is very interesting. So either this might be just Wraith, which has been pretty common. But again, this does set him up for the later game with dropships, just so that he can get the dropships a little earlier. And that's a pretty funny drawing. Now I do see the machine shop is spinning, and this is something that's nicely done from House. He's basically walling off at the high ground. We do see a Wraith is coming out, no control or anything, so this might also be just a chance to scatter around. Because right now Hwasin, I believe he's still in the dark. I don't believe his SCV got inside the base with the Marines there. And a couple of Hwasins is coming out. There is 3 factory from FlaSh, so I wonder if he's going to go for some kind of 3 fact play. Like 3 fact vulture, but we'll have to see. I do see speed is, oh no, speed is not done yet. It looked like it was, and I don't see any other add-ons. Likewise, I mean, he could also just add a tank as well. We'll have to wait and see just as unit production ramps up and the army gets bigger. That'll give us an idea of what FlaSh is planning. Now the Wraith will catch the vultures. Now keep in mind again, that's 4 vultures. The Wraith will go in, it will see this. This should give House enough information about what's coming in. But there is a nice block at his front. And it looks like speed is actually finished for the vultures, so he might actually be trying to burst in, but this should be closed. And House does have a couple of tanks as well. Oh, and that Wraith actually still does some decent damage, so managing to get an SCV is great, especially considering the damage that Wraiths do. And you can kind of see, I don't believe that was blinking, so nothing else coming in. So it looks like FlaSh is actually taking a 3rd CC behind this. Not a bad idea, although he will need to get some mines to try and get some map control. Alright, just because Hwasin is building up his tank count, and that'll be extremely hard to contend with as things go on. Because you can see 3 tanks already versus 0 tanks. So FlaSh is probably hoping for some mines on the high ground. Oh, he might be looking. Yeah, there you go. There's your mine on the high ground. Now, since it's done for Hwasin, this does mean that he can get a little more control. And with the Marines, he's able to sweep as well. But honestly, FlaSh does have a lot of vultures. He does have a lot of mines. And if he's able to get this CC up and get more and more units, he will be able to at least get some. He'll be able to get the economical lead. Now, we did see the army is finished from FlaSh, so no doubt I would presume that his upgrades are going to be starting soon, if not already. It's a bit hard to see. And FlaSh is doing a nice job sniping the Marines. And the reason for this is that the vultures won't trigger the mines. The Marines will. So if he kills the Marines, the only thing that will trigger the Marines otherwise is the tanks. So House wouldn't be able to just sweep with the Marines. Pretty clever move on his part. Oh, and that makes me wonder if that's going to be a 4CC right behind as well. So you can see what I mean. The tanks are the only things that will sweep in that case. Now, it looks like these mines are being donated, but part of this is more than likely that FlaSh is just trying to free up some supply. He does have 4 tanks, which is great. And if he's able to set up a little container outside the low ground there, then this will make sure that at least he can secure his 3rd position. And then a couple of mines at the bottom will make sure he can move units in place as well. Now, that was a nice tank snipe. Honestly, he was plus the 1 unit. That was great. I don't know about this, honestly. There is a lot of... Oh, and that was a pretty big mine thing. So this is one thing regarding mines. And he's going to even get this tank as well. So I feel this is personally worth it. Going up on the tank count does mean that you can get better map control as well, just like especially where the positioning you have. So FlaSh has also been playing this really well. Now the first drop ship is out from House, and this could turn things around. You know, a drop right into the main of FlaSh, for example. I was using the tank thread in FlaSh's main, just outside his like on top of his expansion, can help deny the gas for a bit, pull workers, etc. FlaSh is taking a 4th base behind us, so it looks like he is serious about going to looks like he is serious about going from getting the economic advantage. The thing is, there is 2 drops coming in, and I don't believe FlaSh has an idea of this, so this might catch him off guard, honestly. But there is 3 tanks coming in, actually, and this is really Star Sense stuff, basically, here. And he's even sieged up in time, so he will get the first hit, and that's... Wow. So this fails Hwasin doesn't manage to kill anything, not even the missile turret, and he has to withdraw. So FlaSh has this game locked down so far. It makes me wonder if he actually saw it with when he saw the Goliaths there and they triggered the mines, he figured something must be moving across, or maybe it's the fact that he only saw the one Wraith, so he knows that starport is available. So quite the interesting position from Hwasin to take. Pretty close to FlaSh's base. I don't believe the tanks can range the minerals if they're on the low ground. But at this point in time, FlaSh is honestly running away from the eco advantage, so if he hasn't added factories already, I do expect him to add more and more factories, and the nice third things he has will allow him to catch any drops coming in and enough time to react, especially considering how long they have to travel to his fourth or third. So Hwasin has to do something. I feel at this point in time, if he's planning to go for the long game, he has to double expand or do something really risky, because FlaSh is getting ahead right now. And you can see FlaSh is even taking his fifth base. Like you can see, he's basically aggressively expanding. He has his own dropships as well, and he basically has Hwasin corner, and he's split the map. So this is only going to work to his advantage. So you can see Hwasin is taking a third base, a fourth base, or a fourth, fifth base, and he's taking the top. So he realized the situation. So he is doing the correct move from my perspective. I don't know if it's a little too late, because FlaSh has already got a lot of his factors up. And he has the map control at this point in time, and with the turret rings, that means he's able to intercept a lot of the drops while being the one on the being aggressive at the same time as being defensive. This was a nice drop as well, basically just barely circumventing the barely dropping in turret range. So if FlaSh can actually hold this position and edge his tank upwards, he can actually start raging the gas and the expansion. Now, there is enough units here coming in from Hwasin, but you can see they're dropping right in front of the tanks. But the tanks are nicely spread out as well, and there is enough Goliaths. So these tanks will be cleaned up. This is a minor win from Hwasin, killing about 6 to 7 of FlaSh's tanks. But again, this is only FlaSh again still has the bigger factory count. He has the bigger army overall, and he has the better economy. So even though this trade was not as advantageous to him, I would say, you can see he's already even making starports, and we're what, like 12 minutes into the game? So the fourth is up for Hwasin. We saw the third earlier morning at the 12 o'clock. Oh, okay, and it looks like FlaSh does see this. So I do expect he's going to try and break this space, because he is in close proximity to his, so it does set up a bit of a launch pad, so to speak, to go into his base. He does have quite a bit of tanks here, but Hwasin does have quite a bit of units as well. So we do see the what's more than likely going to be BCs for FlaSh coming, which is the usual, and there's going to be a big drop on top as well. So these tanks are going to be cleaned up, and there is honestly a lot of vultures here, so a couple of mines there with the tanks. This is going to be extremely hard to break, so this base will have to be denied from this base is going to be denied. A lot of SCVs are dying as well, so this is going to further and further put FlaSh up ahead. So you can see the physics lab is coming in as well. And FlaSh knows exactly the position he is in, knows exactly how Hwasin is playing it. So Hwasin is again down a base and doesn't have the eco anymore. Now he may try to go. Looks like he's looking to try and see if he can do a drop on top. But honestly, this could fail miserably, and this might even open up a timing for FlaSh to push as well. So he has to be really careful what he decides to do next. Now just the state of the game. 5 bases mining for FlaSh to the 4 of Hwasin. Factor count, I believe it's in FlaSh's advantage, and FlaSh does have the map control plus the ring turrets, giving him ideas of what Hwasin is doing. And on top of that, he is going to be getting a lot of the BCs. So, dominating position from FlaSh right now. So essentially you can kind of see Hwasin is really desperate to try and break, or at least take this game, but FlaSh is is basically tearing up this whole area, because if Hwasin loses those drop ships, he will lose his mobility around this map, especially with the fact that the only way to get into FlaSh's areas would be going through the middle. So he has to make sure that those dropships don't die. And with the tears above the tanks, just flying in and dropping units is extremely risky, because you more than likely will lose the units you are dropping, as well as some of the drops before even landing all of the units. One other thing I wonder is if he actually knows about the BCs, because I haven't seen, we've seen some Goliath with his units, but we don't see any heavy Goliath or more Goliath being added in. So this may potentially catch him off guard if he thinks FlaSh is putting everything into his ground army, because then he'll have to start making Goliath. And as there you go, see, so 4 BCs are out for FlaSh already, and we saw the second armory, so more than likely air upgrades coming in from that or being researched. So more and more dropships. Oh, and this is actually really nicely done from Hwasin. He's basically maneuvering around the whole thing. It looks like he's going to drop right into the main. This can actually also do a lot of damage. The question is, will he have enough Goliath for the BCs? Also, and there is a lot of Goliath here. FlaSh is dropping right on top. There will be some splash as well. But looks like, oh, okay, and there's enough tanks. So it looks like this will probably more than likely be cleaned up. FlaSh will use obviously his drop ships, or at least a drop ship. No, he actually will save the drop ships, but there is 4 BCs here. You know, the 8 Goliath or so are not going to kill 4 BCs, and the tanks will be cleaned up. So even though this did look great earlier on, looks like FlaSh will be cleaning up. Now the BCs are revealed. This means that Hwasin will start making more Goliath to try and deal with these, or try to do something like the Wraith, but I believe it's a little too late for the Wraith at this point in time. We do see even more and more drops coming in, so FlaSh should have got wind of this. And the BCs are there as well. So this might be actually the GG at this point in time, because there's enough here units to defend. The tanks are going down. FlaSh has tanks in the back as well, and a lot of the drops have died as well. So this is more and more even in FlaSh's favor. And you can see the BCs are still being made, so we still have 4 are being made at a time. And unfortunately for Hwasin, he still has not been able to regain the 12 o'clock position, and he needs that 5th gas, because a lot of his main and more than likely his expansion have been mined out at this point or depleted. Looks like FlaSh is even trying to make a push to prevent this a bit of a mini contain there. I don't know personally about this, honestly. I feel like it would have been better just to sit back, because he already denied this base. Now, one thing though, in terms of units, I believe there wasn't. So you can see 1-1 is finished on the barrack cruisers, made them a little more formidable. I don't believe there was much Goliath with the armor back. You can kind of see it's basically 4 missile tears. So this is not going to do much against what, like 5-6 BCs, and you know there's more and more BCs to come in. So you can see FlaSh is basically focusing on the tanks. He realized if the tanks are gone, the Goliath will be easy picking for his own tanks, which are the backbone of his own army. And even though that was a nice snipe, those you can see 2 Goliaths are gone. There's gonna be probably a 3rd one gone once the tank coming in. But this is really nice micro from Hwasin, just abusing the longer range compared to the battle cruisers as well. But it's still a pretty slow push from FlaSh. So again, he's dominant position, dominating even more. Oh, and you can see that was a nice tank hit. Now he does have a bit of a high ground here, but there's about 7 tanks here. And I'm surprised that he didn't research Yamato just yet, honestly, because he can easily Yamato those tanks from under the tank there. And that will make it pretty easy for him to just push with his tanks against the Goliath. Especially the fact that Hwasin is contributing so much to the Goliath count, so his tanks are going to be less and less the number. Oh, beautiful Yamato, there you go. I also do love the fact that he's actually repairing his BCs, because these are expensive units. So you might as well repair them, and we see even a 4th starport there as well. Oh, and there's something researching too, so I wonder if that's just the energy upgrade. And I can see Hwasin is just building his science facility now. So I wonder if it's going to be... Okay, so it looks like it's going to be just a big attack from both sides. Hwasin is trying to go for a big bust here just to see if he's able to at least reduce the count. There is quite a bit of battlecruisers here. Now there is a bit of Goliath as well, but honestly it's not going to be enough. FlaSh is going to basically plow through this, and what's going to happen now is he's just going to clean up all the tanks, and even if he loses all the battlecruisers here, honestly, FlaSh is so far ahead here that it probably doesn't even matter. Even then, Hwasin is doing a fantastic job though with his Goliath micro, but you can see all the tanks are gone for Hwasin, and the back and forth does make sure that is pushing Hwasin into the BC range as well, because he has to go back and forth. So again, so this was a nice fight for Hwasin, but it feels like this put him even further behind. But Goliath micro honestly was pretty great. It just unfortunately wasn't enough, especially with BCs being this beefy. Now there is a small army tower heading towards the 6 o'clock base. This will be scouted by FlaSh, especially with the turrets and everything. So this army is likely not long for this word at this point in time, especially with a massive BC fleet literally just at the top, on top of them. So everything will be cleaned up here. I do expect the Hwasin will GG at any point now, because again, he's lost the remainder of his army. And looks like this is the opportunity for FlaSh to just to push. I believe we're on 2-2 now for FlaSh, or even more and more. And with this push, especially when he gets on top of the third base, and the SCVs are actually doing a fantastic job of blocking the Goliath, the pathing there. This is probably going to trigger the GG, and there you go, GG from Hwasin. Well played by FlaSh. Things started out pretty evenly with the openings as well, but FlaSh honestly just bulldozed and won straight ahead. We'll see if what Hwasin can do in their second game. Well played. So let's get match number 2 started. Hwasin has to win this, otherwise FlaSh will be advancing to the next round, where he will be facing Jaden if that's the case. Map is Loki 2, fighting. So our white Terran at this 8 o'clock position is going to be Hwasin. And our red Terran at the 2 o'clock position, it's going to be FlaSh. Now we have seen a few TVTs on this map, most notably the recent RO32 game between Nada and Kanata, where it went really late with battle closures. There was also that one game, I believe it was 4GG versus Up Magic in the winners back in the RO32, and that was extremely back and forth as well. So I'm fully expecting both players to eventually transition to dropships as the game goes on, but it will be interesting to see what kind of openers both of them will try and do. Either one will try to go for like a CC first on the back, for the back XP, because you can either take that and be, it's less prone to harass early on, or they'll to go for like a standard factory expand basically. Of course, we don't see any SCVs moving out, so we already have the depots down, so no proxies or anything of the sort. So we'll have to see the reactive is going to go out at the same timing as well, more than likely for both players. So we see the racks down, yeah, and we see the gas as well from both players if I'm not mistaken. So it looks like it's going to be a factory open from both. Definitely not a bad idea, especially with the fact with this map, again, it is a 2-player spawn map. Something that would be interesting to see is if they're going to go for the mines first, or they're going to go just for siege, and how they're going to play a follow-up from that as well. Likewise, armory-wise, like timing-wise, if they're going to get it, let's say 6 o'clock, 6-7 minutes, or they're going to earlier or delay it as well. Now we do have Hwasin will be the first to scout FlaSh's base. One thing for some of the viewers who may have not seen this map played as much, keep in mind there is that that little choke in the middle. Only some certain units will fit in. So things like vultures, tanks, etc. won't be able to fit through that. Only Marines and SCVs can. So you have to kind of walk around, like circumvent it. Now this is really a nice block by FlaSh on the ramp. So Hwasin will have to engage, and he's going to be denied some scouting. Factors have started for both players. I do expect a CC going down for both players in the very near future as well. So I can see what looks like an SCV in Hwasin's expansion. More than likely he will be, yeah, he's taking a CC, and it looks like FlaSh took a CC as well. So the both of them did go for the factory expand. They're pretty much lining things up pretty closely. So good openings so far. Now it'd be interesting to see if either of them will get like a port as a follow-up to the factory. If they're going to add another factory, or what kind of, how will they go from there. So the first vulture's out from FlaSh, and I do expect that Hwasin might be following the same trajectory as well. That looks like a vulture as well from Hwasin. So it looks like Hwasin's matching FlaSh very similarly as well. Yeah. So I could be right on the top, but it looks like they're saying the stats for Hwasin for VT is 8-2. I'm not sure 100% sure if that's on this map here, or sorry, that was for FlaSh. I mean, Hwasin is 5-5. So I believe they're saying on this map FlaSh does have the advantage in 8-2 record versus other Terrans, while Hwasin's 50% on this map. So it sounds like FlaSh has been playing the map even better. So FlaSh is getting his first tank out. He is getting his second factory as well. Oh, and this is nice. I like what Hwasin is doing at this point. So he's going to be taking the back expansion. This will give him an equal advantage if FlaSh decides to delay his own expansion. And keep in mind, FlaSh's factory or racks is just getting to the expansion there. So we'll have to see in terms of how FlaSh swings it around, how much he gets scouting intel there. We do see the port coming out from FlaSh as well, and I believe that's the armory too. Okay, so a 5-ish armory. Second factory is also up from Hwasin as well. Now, one thing regarding this is FlaSh is going to be getting the port up. This doesn't mean that whether he goes for Wraith or whether he goes for dropships, this will give him he would be in a good position to actually drop the back expansion. This does get scouted from Hwasin though, so that's a minor win for Hwasin. He knows what, at least a better idea of what FlaSh is up to. We'll have to see if he's going to get the control tower, but he might be waiting until the Rax is out of vision. There you go. Looks like it's just as soon as the Rax went in, he got the control tower. Considering we're almost 6 minutes into the game, I mean, he might get a Wrath and transit into dropships, or might get a dropship right away. But FlaSh does scout the back expansion, and now he realizes the situation he is in, basically. Because if this runs for long enough, Hwasin will get quite the economic boost, and this will allow him to get a lot of factors up. So it looks like FlaSh was about to catch the first vulture. Unfortunately, he misses it. But he is winning the tech war, so to speak. But economically, Hwasin's definitely getting the advantage now. So army is done for both players. We see the eBay coming up for Hwasin as well. And it looks like FlaSh is starting to kill this Rax, which is not a bad idea. Oh, this is an interesting placement from FlaSh, basically. So he's getting a CC right at the expansion there. What I like about this is that it's early enough in the game that if FlaSh can get set up a couple of like a bit of a tank line there, it'll be hard to break, and then he can always take his back as his fourth, basically, because that's gonna be more protected. And of course, killing this Rax is great for FlaSh. This will mean that Hwasin can build any factories. So you can see that's might be part of the reason he also put down the 2 factories. Probably because he has the money and he knows that he has to rebuild the racks to be able to build more factories. So the dropship is out for FlaSh. We'll have to see what kind of what he plans to do with this basically, because he can still do quite a bit of damage with a dropship. And looks like it's going to head straight to the back. There is an SCV that will scout there. I believe this is a vault. Oh, it's a Goliath drop. Oh, okay. Yeah, so Hwasin is ready for this. He does have a couple of turrets there. FlaSh probably honestly came from the ramp area because there's nothing there, but looks like he doesn't want to risk it. He is adding his own factories as well. So he's going to be going up to 4 like Hwasin as well. But I don't believe Hwasin has added a starport just yet. So FlaSh definitely has the advantage airwise, like in terms of the maneuvering. The droppers give FlaSh a lot of maneuvering potential, especially on this map with the middle, the way it is. So personally, I think that's a nice one for FlaSh. I think he should just probably keep making dropships and skirting all over the place and just expand all over. But now Hwasin is I believe going to be taking his own 4th as well. He more than likely knows that FlaSh must have taken a 3rd of that position, especially with the tanks being set up there. So I believe the armor is spinning, so +1 is more than likely coming in for FlaSh, and I believe that'll be the same for Hwasin as well. We'll have to try and keep tabs on it as the game goes on. Oh, and this was a pretty nice marine scout from Hwasin. Just positioning it there so he's able to get the dropships, give him enough time to basically move around as he needs. The 3rd is up for FlaSh, and it's been mining. I believe the 4th is probably going up if it hasn't already. Yeah, the 4th is going up in the FlaSh's back base. So FlaSh is kind of pulling himself back from the economical situation he was in, from my perspective. Now, that is quite a big army heading towards his 3 o'clock. And the question is FlaSh going to have enough? I mean, he does have the dropper stage he can easily drop. But... oh no. And I feel like Hwasin should honestly not... He's going to be losing his racks again. I don't believe this was intentional. I believe he was probably thinking of coming right up that ramp. So what this means is that he has to remake it again. And that's going to further delay any new factors. This is a nice position FlaSh is taking here. So 6 factors for FlaSh. I believe Hwasin is still on the 4. Okay, it looks like a 5 factory, so it is a factory advance for FlaSh there as well. Eco-wise, they're both on a similar amount of bases now, with their 4th also going down. FlaSh has his 4th mining, and he's getting even the gas as well. And the 4th for Hwasin is also up as well, so pretty close there. Now, we still haven't seen a port from Hwasin just yet, and I'm interested to see when he plans to add this in, if he's just gonna stick to the, you know, if he's gonna bypass the port altogether for some reason. Oh, this is interesting. Didn't look like FlaSh wanted to kill the STV there. Now, there is a huge amount of units coming in from Hwasin, so it's possible that Hwasin might be thinking of trying to deny that 3rd base, because again, he doesn't have any dropships. Now, going up this ramp could be extremely dangerous because FlaSh does have quite a bit of tanks there. It looks like he's going to maneuver all the way around. Oh, and he's going to be denying the bottom base, basically, but there is a lot of dropships here as well. And keep in mind, about 2 or 3 of those dropships are in bad shape. Now, FlaSh does get the first siege, but there is more and more tanks coming in, so some nice target firing from Hwasin, but FlaSh is still maintaining this. So Hwasin will have to pull back because there is quite a bit of tanks left from FlaSh, and he has a bit of a high ground advantage versus that 1 tank down there as well. So this base is denied the 6 o'clock for FlaSh. But FlaSh can definitely take the bottom right corner, which I believe he is. Likewise, Hwasin is taking the top left. So the both of them are basically keeping up in the base count. And looks like they both will try and deny the 12 and 6 o'clock. Although Hwasin did take the 12 o'clock right now. I do a CC on point. And the port just finished. Would you see a science facility going up for Hwasin? We'll have to see what he is planning to do with that That might be for Amp, depending on how far the game goes. Now, FlaSh is pushing this position. I think it's definitely a good idea. I feel like he should honestly put a little faster because tanks are being sieged up, but he is within range. So two tanks are down. A third will be going down for Hwasin as well. So this base will be denied, or FlaSh should be able to deny it. Basically, all he needs to do is just go up, move his tanks just along the higher side of the map, the rim there, and he should be able to deny the CC from building. Definitely, you do not want Hwasin to take this base, otherwise he will take the extra gas on top of FlaSh, especially with Hwasin denying FlaSh from taking the 6 o'clock base. Now, we do see what looks like more than likely just dropships from Hwasin as well. But looks like FlaSh is dead set on killing these tanks at the bottom. Now, not a bad idea because he does have the high ground advantage, and this will also get him in range to deny the CC at 12 o'clock. So this will be denied. So both of these players will be on the 5 mining bases for a good part of this game, basically. We'll see who's able to take the 6th base, because that could basically give the individual who took it quite the advantage. Now, I don't personally know about this break in this, honestly. This is a really tight choke, and FlaSh is walking right into it, and the nicely spread out tanks from Hwasin, especially with the Goliath being able to catch the dropships. So I feel like FlaSh is honestly losing too much. Now, what is he doing does make sense. He realizes a lot of Hwasin's army is at the 6 o'clock base. He has quite a bit of units and dropships, so if he drops on top and pushes, he will be able to clear the units there, and he will be able to deny the top left, giving him the economic advantage. But Hwasin does have quite a bit of units coming out. He has his own dropships as well. He says 2 out compared to the 5 of FlaSh. So this is going to open a chance. So FlaSh is more than likely going to be denying this. Well, there's a chance he might deny this base, but he will have to commit quite a bit to it because we see more and more tanks coming in from Hwasin, and also tiers are going up as well. Something I would love for Hwasin just to put some tiers near the ramp there, because we see that one tank there. This will mean that if FlaSh wants to dive into that main from that with his dropships from that angle, he's going to have to run over the turrets basically. Otherwise, he will have to drop some units near the ramps, and the tanks will arrange them. But so 7 factors for Hwasin. No doubt FlaSh has added a couple since we last saw his main base. So it looks like the main fight is probably going to be up to the top left. But FlaSh looks like he's also content to stop for now. Now they have got the 1+1 and the +2 has finished at this point as well. We'll have to see what Hwasin's upgrades are like here. Oh, but this is really nicely done by FlaSh basically. This will at least allow him to take the gas. And gas can be extremely important, especially with some of the tanks being gas heavy. It looks like Hwasin is basically doing the exact same thing. Oh, and he's going to be just going for the main, the front push as well. So FlaSh will be breaking this. A lot of nice kills as well, and he will be denying this. So this is actually big for FlaSh. But looks like Hwasin is thinking the same thing, so he's going to try and push this. Now the question is, he only has the 4 drops and a turret is done, but there's about 2 Goliath as well. Now he will deny the CC building. So it looks like they both have traded. And one thing about this position for Hwasin is that he can actually range the gas from the expansion if he decides to get a couple of tanks in that position. So that could give him the gas advantage if he decides to push it, but he might just hold off on that. And it looks like Hwasin is slowly and steadily building up his dropship count, so definitely not a bad idea. Now FlaSh is taking the bottom base. Hwasin will have to clear the 12 o'clock if he wants to take another gas as well, because we're about 16 minutes into the game, and I believe the gas at this point in the main, if it's not mined out, it will be mining out shortly. So I'm kind of curious to see what Hwasin's next move is going to be. So he realizes obviously that FlaSh must be taking the 6 o'clock base. And he needs his own gas basically, another base. So he's going to need another base short, otherwise he will be falling behind. So again, more factors from FlaSh. Just a lot of maneuvering for both of his players, trying to find an area that's open to kind of bust it. But at the same time, you also don't want to commit too much to an attack because you know you don't want to be losing the tanks because the other opponent is basically matching your every move. Looks like Hwasin actually going to go, might be planning to go for an attack on all sides here. I don't know why he didn't go from the other side. Honestly, he had enough units there. He's going to be dropping on top. Now FlaSh's tanks are doing a lot of damage, but that is a lot of Goliath and there is a lot of units here. So Hwasin will be breaking this, just a massive force. But FlaSh is dropping the other side as well, and he will be clearing this out too, and even from both sides as well. So he's going to be further denying any kind of mining from Hwasin. So this might have been potentially been the reason that Hwasin did not decide to unsheath his tanks from there. Just leave them there because there is a chance for FlaSh. But keep in mind there was no AA there, no tears or anything, and FlaSh will probably be retaking this map once again. He has an overwhelming force, a lot of tanks in the mix, and all I'm seeing is more and more Goliath from Hwasin. Now, of course, Goliath can still do decently, but you can kind of see between the pathing and just how strong tanks are, you wouldn't have more of a balanced force. Now, I do wonder if part of this as well is that Hwasin was planning to try and stop a lot of the drop ships from FlaSh, because if you snipe the drop ships, you have to rebuild them. But his top left now is exposed. Now he will be getting a couple of drop ships and will be more likely saving a lot of his SCVs. But what this means is FlaSh's bottom 6 o'clock base has been mined for a while now. He is also open to taking the 12 o'clock if he would like as well, and the gas is there. But the question is, how much forces will he have to commit if he decides to take that base at the top? Because you can see his third is already mined out as well. And I believe his main is also mined out or very shortly, and his expansion is also running dry as well. So FlaSh is back on, is only going to be on 3 mining bases very shortly in terms of minerals. But FlaSh is doing a really nice job pushing this. If this top left base goes down for Hwasin, he's going to be in a really, really bad situation. We'll have to see what he's able to pull off. Okay, perfect. So we got a look at Hwasin. So 2-0 for both players. So they are matching and upgrades, which is great. Looks like Hwasin is going to be maneuvering right behind the 6 o'clock, and this is honestly not a bad idea. Now FlaSh is quick with his response, and he will land right before the tanks will siege, so he should be able to clean this up. Now this was not a bad idea from Hwasin, honestly. But Hwasin will also lose another drop ship as well, almost a second. So yeah, this is not a bad idea from Hwasin. If he drops the base there, he can deny 2 bases. We would have access to 2 bases and deny them, which would put FlaSh in a worse position. But he lost a drop ship. He lost a lot of tanks and Goliath with that drop, and he essentially his base at top left is contained as well. You can see FlaSh is inching slowly forward. Plus he has the high ground there. Now there is quite a bit of units from Hwasin. Looks like he might be planning to go for the big attack on FlaSh's 12 o'clock base. Now FlaSh has to drop these and shoot them ASAP because that is a lot of units coming in. But looks like Hwasin is going to be... No, it looks like he actually was intent on pushing, but because of the dropships, he had to basically change his plans. You can see how the dropships are extremely useful in this matchup, honestly. Late game TVT with dropships, you absolutely need them. He is pushing towards the middle. He should have enough to break it here, but this is a nice position from FlaSh, and he's dropping right on top as well. So it looks like FlaSh will be cleaning up this force, or cleaning up most of these forces. Oh, or maybe not. So one thing to keep in mind, again, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, they've been mined for a while. 6 o'clock has been for a while. 12 has already been established now. The gas is being mined as well. So FlaSh is will be reaping the benefits soon. Now, the one thing I do wonder about FlaSh is what his tank count is like, because we see tanks here and there. I know he has some at 6 o'clock, some at 12 o'clock to defense, especially some that are ranging or close to ranging the top left of Hwasin. But my question is just how many tanks does he have? Because if they're all over the place, this does mean that Hwasin has a chance to kind of bust through an area and kill units bit by bit. And we saw a bit of that with the barrack cruisers in the Nada versus Kanata game. And you can kind of see basically Hwasin does know about this positioning here. But of course, FlaSh will be cleaning this up as well with minimal losses. Now, while FlaSh is further solidifying his lead, there is a huge Goliath tank count going up towards FlaSh's 12 o'clock bit. It looks like this base will actually be going down. Now, Hwasin should honestly be moving things up a little faster because he is attacking upground and set up in positions right before the drop. Looks like he is doing this. There is quite a bit of tanks from FlaSh, but keep in mind, you can see this is fantastic firing from Hwasin as well, but he is still attacking upground. Now, FlaSh can definitely defend this. He does have enough tanks in the back, so all these tanks, or most of these tanks for Hwasin will be going down. So another attempt, not a bad try, but oh, and looks like FlaSh is even going for the attack now as well. And this base for Hwasin is now officially denied. The SBs have all been killed. Okay, well, it looks like the base will survive, but I mean, there's barely any workers on that base. On the other hand, FlaSh's Mass has complete map control. He has awareness of what Hwasin is doing. He has the economical advantage. Army-wise, I believe he's up. The only thing for Hwasin's upgrades were similar last we checked, but that's not exactly comforting at this point in the game. It feels like Hwasin might be trying to push the 12. It might be planning to push the 12 o'clock again. But again, there's 7 dropshifts worth of units back here. So honestly, I don't think he's going to be that much successful. Now, oh, this was some nice dropshifts pulled. This base is going to be denied. There is quite a bit of tanks from FlaSh, so it had to be lifted. Now, this does provide a chance for Hwasin to try and push this base, but there is quite a bit of tanks here, so I don't think it'd be honestly successful, especially with FlaSh heavy units on the bottom ground. One thing I would love for FlaSh is to honestly move a little more, some more of his units there towards the CC, because there's some in the back, and these tanks will be raging the SCVs. You can see there's 2 tanks raging the SCVs there. The good thing for him is he can at least keep mining the gas and repairing the CC if he absolutely needs the gas. But he is still in a great economical advantage right now that I don't think that's too concerning for him. On the other hand, I believe Hwasin's completely mined out. All his 4 bases are completely gone. FlaSh, on the other hand, at least has 2 to 3 mining bases. And this is a huge drop as well. This should be cleaning up all the tanks for Hwasin. This might be sealing the game at this point in time. With a lot of these tanks dying, what is Hwasin going to do, right? Like, he's lost everything. On the other hand, we saw FlaSh adding more and more factories. His dropships are full up again. He's oh, okay, this is quite sparse, but he does have the 3 mining bases compared to the none of Hwasin, and he has the 4th top base basically, which he can remine from again. And his expansions seems to still have some minerals on it. On the other hand, Hwasin is basically just floating up his CC to try and take a base in the top left, but honestly, it's kind of futile at this point in time. FlaSh can probably drop this base, kill it, and finish off the game. Obviously, you still have to be careful about Hwasin's units, but you get the GG. GG, and one thing to mention, you can see the large vultures. That's because he's so gas-starved, he just has to throw a lot of his money into vultures. GG, well played by FlaSh. Well played. So FlaSh will be advancing to the next round, and he will be facing Jaedong.